Hey guys, welcome to Wrench to Drive. It's been a while. Today we're back with a new 24th scale crawler, this UDIRC Snow Leopard, the 2405 Pro. Now, spoilers, this little bad boy exceeded my expectations pretty much in every way. Now I thought it would be good, but it is absolutely epic. Now, just before I forget, these stickers did not come with it. These are stickers that I had kicking around. It comes with a couple of different looks that you can put on it, color-wise and whatnot. It comes unstickered. I'll show a couple of pictures with no stickers. Now, I'm going to go through the features really quick and explain to you why it is a screaming good deal, in my humble opinion. And then I'll tell you how it works, and then hopefully I'll show you some running video in the background and give you my recommendation, which, spoilers, yeah, if you are in the market for a 24th scale, this is the one to get. It is awesome. Alright, so if you can read, you probably know about the features, but I'll go through them really quick. Four-wheel steering. It's got two front axles, one in the front, one in the back, so it does four-wheel steering. Very, very nice. I gotta admit, in some ways I think it's kind of a bit of a gimmick, but boy oh boy, on this thing, it is nimble as nimble can be. Oil-filled shocks. I have not actually checked to make sure they're full of oil, but the suspension works extremely nicely, so I have a very easy time believing they are indeed full of oil. It's smooth as butter, very nice articulation. It's nothing to not like there. If you can see inside there, that is a little brushless outrunner motor. That's right, brushless system. Big value right there, my friends, and it works beautifully. One very, very, very small problem. It cogs very slightly, not right off the line. In a kind of low-end RPM range, there's one spot where it cogs a little bit, and I think you might hear it in the running video that I'll put in the background. And when I was first running it, I actually didn't notice because it really doesn't seem to stop the car, but you can hear the motor start to cog a little bit in this one range. Fairly slow crawling, not right at the bottom, and the absolute slowest this thing can crawl is crazy. It's got unbelievable low speed control. So that's the only downside. There's a very, very small amount of cogging. I would say it doesn't affect the performance at all, but maybe somebody who's picky, that's something worth considering, because putting in a new power system and electronics, it's going to be a little pricey. You got LEDs up front, LEDs in the back, pretty nice. Two-speed transmission, my friends. So it's got low gear and high gear. The low gear is very, very low. The high gear is, oh, good googly moogly, it's fast, my friends. Yes. Now, I'm going to rag on it just very, very slightly. Call me jaded. I think the Chinese on this one, the UDIRC team, I think they clued in that if you sell a car that goes very, very fast right out of the box, there's a very good chance that a rookie, a noob, will damage that car and have to buy parts. That's the cynic in me, because I like the speed. I like the all-out performance, that pro level, I love it. I wouldn't change a thing. I love it. But 100%, there are people who buy a car that is too much car for them, and they damage it, and they have to buy parts, or it just ends up on the shelf, which bums me out to no end. But anyways, that's the jaded person in me, because the low gear on this thing is probably as much speed as most people need with this. The high gear is, let's say you want a little bit more speed in low gear. Well, the high gear is crazy. Like, it is so much faster. It's unreal. I can't even show you with it running inside what high gear is capable of, because I don't have enough room. That's how fast it is, okay? So I'm done talking about that, but it's a wow factor. Like, this thing it really performs. So 2-speed transmission, brushless system, Metal gears throughout, really nice. I haven't actually cracked it open to verify, but that's what the ads say, and I believe it because everything about this seems to deliver. Bearings throughout, very, very nice. So you essentially don't need to spend money on anything with this little car, as best as I can tell. And it is very nice looking, very scale looking. Tires are decent. They're quite soft. I want to say there's some that are a little softer and grippier out there, but these are certainly nothing to complain about. They're a little bit of a cross between like a street tire and an off-road tire, kind of a big chunky grip that you'd see on a truck driving on the road where I live. So there are definitely more aggressive treads out there if you want to use it purely for crawling, purely for off-roading type of deal. But that's definitely not a downside. To me, the wheels, it's kind of a smoky chrome. They look really sharp. I like them quite a bit. If you want to upgrade, there's definitely deals out there on wheels and tires for in the $30 Canadian range, which is not a lot of money. It's about 20 bucks US. Nothing to complain about there. You can spend lots more. I kind of don't see the point myself, but that's up to you. So the cage looks really, really authentic. It's very nice, very detailed. You got little drivers in there. They look pretty good. To me, about the only thing I think I'll do is paint the helmets. Leave the visors that kind of silver color there. You got these faux fans on the back. You got the fuel cell. Looks really, really sharp. I love this thing. The looks are absolutely fantastic. Plastic drive shafts, plastic links. That's maybe the only thing you might want to upgrade is metal links. I would leave the plastic drive shafts because the less mass in the drivetrain makes better performance. And these seem to be plenty durable. I've got a couple hours driving on this, playing around with it, and it has had zero problems. The plastic links I have no problem with. The fit of the ball ends and everything is pretty good. There's a little bit of play. I'm trying to get a grip on it here. You can see that there's a little bit of play. That's pretty much all in the links. Definitely not terrible. A little bit of play there. Maybe something you can improve on very, very slightly if you're picky. Overall, really, really good. The radio, let's have a look at the radio. Definitely a decent radio. Not a world beater, but if you wanted a much, much better radio to come with this thing, you'd have to expect to pay more. For the price point that it comes in at, I paid $170 Canadian, which is about $120, $130 US, something like that. At that price point, I don't think you're going to get a much better radio. This is pretty solid. It's got your forward steering trim, your rear steering trim, your steering dual rate, your throttle trim, throttle and steering reversing, the mode button for switching your four-wheel modes that it shows up here, 4 little LEDs that it shows, and then the on-off switch, and this is the gear shifter right here. Only thing that I personally would have preferred to be a little bit different is the mode button to be on here somewhere where I could push it with my thumb. Pretty small criticism, it works very nicely. It's a solid radio for the money. I have not tested the range, but I've had zero issues whatsoever inside the house. Steering wheel feels pretty good. Nice foamy. It's got a good grip to it. You can one-hand it if you're good at that. Doesn't have the little thingamajiggy, but as you can see, you have no trouble doing it with your thumb. The throttle is good. The feel is decent. So overall, the radio, for an out-of-the-box radio, I mean, I give this like a solid 8, 8.5. It's really good. There's not a whole lot to improve on it. Like I said, I would move that one switch. And it's a little plasticky. Oh, yes, and the other thing I take off marks for is because it's got AAA batteries, but they're a little more pricey where I live, so I prefer AA's, but that's a very small criticism. Basically, you know, you're quibbling if you ask me. So overall, very, very little to complain about on this. This is the closest car I have ever bought to getting a no-brainer 10 out of 10 right out of the box. It's so, so good. Comes with a charger, a little cross wrench for your wheels and whatnot. Comes with some little shock spacers so you can adjust the suspension. That's pretty sweet. Now the one funny thing, comes with these two screwdrivers. Two Allen head screwdrivers. Now the problem is, they're actually a little oversized. They don't fit any of the screws that they're supposed to fit on this car. Now I have the DIY ability to massage these slightly, so I will. But that's a head scratcher. That's the first time I've seen that, guys. I have never seen screwdrivers that are too big for everything. I've seen too loose ones. I've seen ones that loosen up because the metal is soft. I have never seen ones that are right out of the box too big. These are too big. So that's mildly annoying. It's for me, it's a zero issue, but for other people, that would be a little bit annoying. If you have a file or a moto tool, anything that'll grind metal gently, you can massage those a little bit, I'm sure, and get them to fit relatively easily. You just want to be very, very gentle. So that's a small criticism. All right, so running wise, how do you get at the battery? You pop this little this cover off. It's a little bit annoying, but I cannot think of a better way to do it, so I'm not going to criticize it overly much. I've got big fat fingers, so it's a little bit of a challenge to get off, but it's not terrible. You got this skinny little battery pack. It's a very small criticism because I looked around a little bit. Tricky to find one that will fit in here. Now you can easily get something like a WL Toys 24 scale battery in here. It's skinny and it's a little bit tall, but you can definitely use it. It's just not going to fit the cover. So very, very slightly annoying. Very, very small criticism, guys. It is what it is. The reason that is how it is, if you look in there, let's see if I can shine that. I don't know if you can see right back there, that box, that's the electronics. There's not much room, right? So they basically used all the room they had to squeeze that in there. So very small criticism. A normal form factor battery or a little more common form factor battery would be nice, but that's definitely not a huge problem. All right, let's have a look at her running. On-off switch is underneath. It's sealed up, so it is very, very water resistant with the little rubber cover. Now note, this car itself is not waterproof. So if you like playing in the water, you're going to want to be careful, or you're going to want to take it apart and try to waterproof those electronics a little bit. Otherwise, there's probably some disappointment in your future. So there's those front LEDs, there's those back LEDs. All right, now let's have a look-see. Boop. All right, so there's front steering, normal, mode. There's rear steering. There's front and rear, which is awesome. This thing turns so tight, it's unreal. There's the crab walking feature, which I honestly don't really know what good that is. The one I use all the time is the four-wheel steering. It's very, very sweet. Trims work really nice. Let's see if I can show you just how slow this thing crawls. How's that for slow? That is pretty impressive if you ask me. A little more sticky in reverse. Look at that. That, my friends, is slow. Quite a bit of torque there, hey? All right, and like I said, I will show you some running footage of this bad boy. But yeah, there you go. Lots of features. Really, really impressive, if you ask me. So, front and rear steering, oil-filled shocks, plastic drive shafts, metal gears throughout, ball bearings throughout, brushless power system, LEDs. What am I forgetting? Decent radio. Yeah, this thing's awesome, guys. The servo savers are very, very effective. It's kind of hard to see in the videos, but if you ever see it look like the wheels take a big left turn at Albuquerque, that's the servo saver. That is a really nice feature. It's one of those things where a lot of times, if you want precision, you don't want a servo saver. You want as much action as possible in the steering. with these little servos, I actually think that's a really good feature because it means you're very unlikely to destroy servos in short order. And if you want the authentic ones that come with this, they're actually kind of pricey. The cheapest, I think dollar for dollar, the best alternative is Banggood has the entire axle with a servo for $30 Canadian, so about 20 US. On AliExpress, I think it was, I found the servos on one site. They were over $20 Canadian just for a servo. So to me, I'm going to order the whole axle with a servo for a little bit more money and have some spare parts. So take that into consideration. Right now, spare parts for this seem to be a little bit hard to find. I found some on AliExpress. They're in my opinion kind of prohibitively expensive right now, and the best site I found for having them, the shipping was just crazy. Like the shipping was way more money than the actual parts. So it very quickly became just ridiculous. Like it makes no sense to order parts. It makes more sense to just buy another crawler so you have a bunch of spare parts. But I think that's probably going to change, because if this thing isn't popular, I'll be very, 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 very surprised. Now another thing to consider is that if you damage parts on this little bad boy, there are an absolute ton of UCX24, the axial parts out there. Axles, motors, transmissions, you name it, the whole schmozzle, right? So with a little bit of DIY, you can definitely keep this running with a minimum of expense. Hopefully, the stock parts come down in price a little bit, become a little bit more widely available so they're easy to get for not too much money. That would be very, very nice. Right now, like I said, they're out there, but it's a little expensive. Now, that's just me being a little bit pessimistic in that, you know, stuff typically doesn't last forever. This has been very durable. I've actually made a few little boo-boos with this thing because it's so fast, crashing into stuff, and I haven't so much as scratched it. So, in my opinion, this thing's pretty durable. You have to do something really, really, really bad to break it on a whim. It's not fragile, in my opinion. I highly recommend this Pro version because the dollar value is tremendous for what you're getting. It's about $30 more than the non-Pro version, the brushed version, which does not have four-wheel steering. It does not have a brushless system. It's a brushed motor, front-wheel steering only, blah, blah, blah. It's nowhere near as good, guys. The extra bits you get in the Pro version are totally worth $30 Canadian, about 20 bucks US. Like, you're crazy if you don't get it. But my only qualifier, if you are new to the hobby, it's probably going to be harder to break that brushed version. I suspect it will not perform as well, not as powerful. Just gives you a little more wiggle room. But in this case, I can't possibly recommend going that route because it's just such a small amount of money more to get the really, really good one. I would personally say put it in low gear. Try to be nice to it as much as you possibly can. Get a practice lots, get a really good feel for the driving, and it's probably going to be super durable. All right, my friends, that is it. That is it. I cannot recommend this car highly enough. It is so, so good. I have been nothing but impressed. Absolutely, top to bottom, front to back, this thing is a beauty. It's without a doubt one of my favorites. Zero regrets buying this thing. It's so, so good. So, what do I give it out of 10? I got to take just a little bit off, I think. I'm going to give it a solid 9. And I think maybe that's being a little too hard on it because, you know, the screwdrivers, the battery door, I don't love. The radio with a mode switch, you know, not in a thumb position. These are very, very small criticisms, my friends. So you tell me. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'm not seeing something. If you think I've missed something, some major criticism that I have been too kind, hey, let me know. All right, so I've gone on and on, waffled long enough. Like I said, solid 9 out of 10. I love this thing. There you go. Hopefully that's it. If I've overlooked anything, like I said, hit me up in the comments. Try and answer any questions you might have, but she's a beauty. That's it for this time. We'll see you next time on Wrench to Drive, where we ask the eternal question, Do you drive to wrench? Ready, wrench to drive.